Hi there traders, and welcome back to Elite Trade Skills and part 4 of our price action video series, which is on what we term RTFs or retest fails. So if you stick around, we'll explain exactly how we implement them in our trading. See you on the flip side. What we're going to discuss with you now is a key concept we use in our trading, and we call it the retest fail, or RTF for short. Okay, so we're going to discuss the concept, what are the key points within the concept, or what to look out for, and just to discuss 3 different types. So there's a minor retest fail, or minor RTF. We've got more of a macro corrective retest fail, and more of a complex retest fail. So on the screen now we have our SPY Direct, our Aussie SPY Direct 200. And there is 3 examples, or 1 example of each actually. So the 3 examples are within this one chart. We'll go through them now. What I'll firstly just describe is more of what we're looking for in a macro RTF, okay, or a retest fail. So say we've got a trend down, okay, and it's the same, just reverse for a trend up. Okay, what we're looking for is when you break the anchor to the downtrend. All right, so if we just go and mark that up, then that's the anchor to our downtrend. And this is a similar type of concept of what we described before on support and resistance. You've got the trend down, the anchor to the trend down is the last lower high. The market breaks to that trend down. It may head up quite a bit, but then what you're looking for, when it starts to turn, so this may be more of just a major pullback. We don't know at that stage, but what we're looking for is what happens when it gets back down to the lows, okay? So you might go down to the lows, wash it out, hold the higher low, and then you start to push back up. Well, that's not the world's best, but from there, we're just looking to head back up again and start a new trend back up. So that's a key turning point in that trend. A lot of people might term this as a double bottom or a double top. We call it a retest fail purely because it can happen on a minor scale, and it can happen like just in here we've seen 1, 2, 3 or 4 times. But what it's really saying is a level is told to hold up, it's getting tested and it's failing. It's tested and it's failing. Okay, it can happen within a trend down. You've got a minor pullback, it's retesting and failing, it's continue on the way down. So it's a good heads up that you want to get with the trend or stay with the trend for that continuation down or continuation up. When it's more of a macro, what we just described there, macro change in trend, we're looking for that leg down, the leg breaks, you're looking for a secondary leg down, and the secondary leg down starts to fail. We've got the retest fail down the bottom. Okay, what we're looking for here, retest, and you start to hold a high low off that level, and rather than wanting to be short, expecting that to go straight through support, you're looking at that as a key, a change in trend, okay? And you're trying to work along off this. So if you flip it over, you're trying to work a short off that. If you've got a trend up, it breaks, you have a pause, a pullback, and you go back up and retest fail on the upside, and you're looking for that lower high in that respect. Okay, so this is sort of the key concepts we're looking for. So now if we just go back to the chart and we mark up this section here. So this is a key section we're focusing on. We've got a trend down. Okay, so this is the last lower high or the anchor to that trend down. You can see price test the lows. Okay, it starts to reverse. So we've got our pullback. So we're just starting to satisfy the break of the anchor. So that's that first part or the first step in trying to find or determine a level where we expect a retest fail, or we'd be careful, or we'd be watching for that potential for a retest fail, and then we want to get nice and early in the trend back up again. Okay, so we've got the trend down is broken with our pullback. Now at this stage, like I've said, we don't know whether this lower high is going to lead to complete selling and capitulate straight through this low. We don't know at that stage, but what we do know is this could be setting up, depending on what we see in the coming price action, for a retest fail, a major retest fail. Now, if we're looking at that, and there's other indicators, for example, I've got my stochastics here. If you could, a key thing I use the stochastics for is to see whether it's oversold or overbought into a key zone, or extended, we like to say. Not so much overbought or oversold, but more extended into a key zone. So at this stage, you can see price action with this stochastic is starting to say to me, the sellers are pressing it down. We're pressing it down into a zone. Okay, a potential where we're expecting a retest fail. The selling started to get exhausted. Okay, you've got a pullback here just before that, and then the market is extended back down into that zone. Okay, and we got, again, we're hitting to sort of that overextended on the downside. So the sellers are really trying to push it. All they can do is get it in that zone rather than push it straight through. Okay, so you can see there's a couple of things starting to line up, a bit of confluence within that zone. Okay, and we can see it did start to fail. Okay, so what we're looking at is really to see the first high low to play out, and see if we can get an entry off a higher low after that retest fail. So this is a key concept for a macro retest fail or a macro RTF. All right, and you might be just able to buy once we pop through. We're going to extend that out. Pop through there. You've got your high low starting to play out here. Even just in here, you've got your entry just through there. But what you're looking at is you've got sellers coming in. Sellers are stacked up. They may have held it. We've got more sellers coming in. The retest fail, and we're looking for all these sellers that started to stack up to turn around and get squeezed back out of the market. And that's why we're actually trying to trade long off a retest fail. All right, especially a macro retest fail. And it has to have this key concept. Now, what a lot of people get caught up with a double top or double bottom, and this is where I tend to disagree whether it is a double bottom or a double top. If you're coming down to within a zone, there's a key area or a key concept that we like to be triggered first is a break of the anchor. Now, if you've got the markets pressed down, okay, and then what we're getting is this pullback, okay, we're going to get a grind higher. But if you look at the most recent lower high, that's the anchor to the trend down. If that anchor does not break, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get the retest fail. It doesn't mean that this zone's going to hold. To me, that trend is still down. Whereas what we have here, the trend is down. We broke the anchor. We're looking for a secondary retest, a retest fail, and we're looking for higher low off that zone. All right. If you don't break the anchor to the downtrend, and again, the same to the uptrend, if you don't break the anchor to the uptrend, this could just be a minor pullback. What it's doing is suckering a few longs, and it's just building to squeeze them back out. And that trend has not changed. It's been down, lower high, had a bit of a complex correction there, or a minor within the trend down. Still continues to hold a lower high without breaking the anchor and just pushes back down. So a lot of people might find, if I just delete this leg out, or if I might move that, they might find that there, okay, they can get caught in thinking, okay, at that stage, we're expecting, okay, we're to retest fail. But see, hasn't broken the anchor. So at that stage, if we're here, and we have broken the anchor, we've got different price actions. So in my book, that's completely different price action. Okay, once you break the anchor to the downtrend and you start to fail off that zone again, as opposed to not breaking the anchor to the downtrend, and potentially you're here looking for a short, you're looking for a long, because you're looking at that as a double bottom, and then all it does is minor lower high and squeezes people straight back out. So if you go back and look at the charts, this kind of price action can happen time and time again, especially if that leg down, the last leg down, is quite extended for whatever reason. It has to have a bit of a grind back up, and what that does is drag in more buyers. You get pushed back down to the recent low, and people think, okay, that's going to be a double bottom, or they might be thinking, if they use the term retest fail, that might be a retest fail zone. We're coming back down to low. We've reacted up off that low, but all it's doing is reacting up off there, dragging in a few more buyers just to turn around and squeeze them back out. And when you're continually dragging in buyers and you're squeezing them back out, you've just got that momentum able to continue on the downside. So for me, that step there with regards to the anchor is a key part in determining whether that could be a potential really good retest fail, especially a macro retest fail, or it's going to be a more of a trap. Okay, a trap for buyers that are looking to buy it off there. And now that's something really the textbooks don't really tell you, is if it hasn't broken that anchor, it could be more of a trap. And I would view that more as a trap as we come in down to that zone. I mean, there's nothing to say that it can't start to hold higher lows. It gets, we might turn around and edge back up to this high. We might get a retest fail off this, which means a retest fail with the trend down. All right, if that makes sense. So what we'll do, you can see we've got the trend down, the anchor did broke, so it's matching off with our criteria, turns back down, heads down, back into that zone, and we're looking for this zone to see the first sign that's going to hold up, and the sign what we want to trade off, we have to trade off our shoulder, what we call a shoulder, or a higher low in this respect. When the trend's down, it's a higher low. If the trend is up and we're looking for a retest fail off the top side, we're looking to work a short off a lower high. Okay, so that's what we just discussed, is a macro corrective one. Now, I'm just going to go through this little spot in here. It's more of a minor, okay? And what we're looking at here, why I like this one here as a retest fail, is that the trend is starting to go down. Like, we've got only minor price action here, but we've got a level here. It's tested a few times, tested again. Start to get a lower high come to play. You can see off that level, we've got a lower high. We've taken out those lows. We're starting to get another lower high come to play. We've taken out these lows again. We come all the way back up, we've retested that zone, and we're starting to fail. And you can see it's only on a minor scale, but that's a very powerful tool when you're trying to get on the right side of the market. If you're thinking this market, okay, we've got the level here, we're starting to back off slightly, we're going to blast straight up and through, and you're going long, and you're watching this price action here, you've got to take note of that price action, that all this could be part of a shoulder, what we term off a key zone. But what it actually is what we would term as a retest fail also, but it's a retest fail with the trend. So if you get price action like this, and especially when you get a minor, if you can see this minor shoulder in here, off the retest fail, we've spoken about quite a few times now, a very powerful tool to keep you with the, or keep you on track, keep you with the trend. All right, if we go back across to the right-hand side now, just to talk about the last one, more of, just minimize that, this is more of a complex zone, or a complex retest fail. And it's, you know, it's tested a zone a few times, and you know that this trend now, we can see, sorry, trend down, we retest fail here, that zone is up, that you could be putting a major bottom in place because we've got a trend down, we've had a pullback, trend had a chance to continue, failed at this zone, and we're starting to build a new leg up, okay? So what you know, this trend is starting to develop on the upside. We've had a zone here starting to build, so it's retested it quite a few times. You pull back here, pop up, pull back, retest it in here, again in here, and again in here. So that's a complex, more of a complex, what I would term as a complex retest fail. And you're just looking to try to buy off a higher low. And this ultimately turned out to be, in hindsight, once you broke through those highs, that's our higher low, where again, we're with the trend. We've got a retest fail here, a major macro retest fail with more of a complex retest fail, but with trend. And we're just trying to buy into the first sort of pullback off that when it starts to break back up to the upside. Okay, and again, if this is on the downside, you're looking for a selling opportunity off a lower high or a shoulder. All right. So what I've just described there is 3 different types of what we would term as a retest fail, how you would look to implement them, what are the key factors you are looking for, and how you're trying to trade off those retest fails. So here, you got a minor shoulder off for a retest fail with the trend. So that's important that you're with the trend. Okay, you're not looking to buy with the trend off a little minor retest fail on the downside, because really it's a very low probability entry. Looking to try to pick the bottom when you've got no break with the anchor like we just discussed here. So it's always with trend as on these minor ones. A major corrective retest fail, what we said, trend down broken, first pullback, you're looking for that major trend to continue. Instead, it falls short. You know, we looked at our stochastics, it's getting extended, keeps getting extended into that zone. High probability, if we start to break up, we're looking for that shoulder. If we start to break up here, your first pullback you're looking to buy into, and you're trying to look to take advantage early of that change in trend when the leg starts to go back up and you're starting to squeeze back all these buyers. And then lastly, we just discussed that more of a complex retest fail, but again, it's with trend. Well, we hope you enjoyed that, traders, and thanks very much for listening. Remember, if you did like our video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great content and sign up to the website to get access to all our premium videos for free. Speak to you again soon.